G'day, Elijah.
How's it going?
How are you?
Good. Good.
What was that you were playing?
I don't know. I was just
I don't know either.
fooling around, using all the chords that you can think of.
I think it sounded really, that was really, really beautiful,
Thank you
honestly.
much.
Some of the lines. How did we get here? How did we get to... You're an authentic country player. How does that happen?
I don't know if I would say I'm authentic, but we'll.
You're a country boy, that's for sure.
I'm a country boy, yes. Yeah.
So tell us a bit about that.
Definitely evolved from that. I mean, I definitely grew up playing. I grew up playing old time fiddle music originally, so that's the roots for me. So.
Where was that?
What's that?
Where was that? Where are you born and raised?
I was raised in. I claim Kentucky.
Okay.
You know, I was born in Tennessee and lived in Alabama, but I claim Kentucky, and that's where all my dad's family is from, like southeastern Ohio. So I was right there in the tri-state of West Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky, and so there's like a really rich like folk music culture up there, and it's kind of getting buried now. But there's like my dad's like honestly kind of a historian for that kind of music. And so I definitely grew up learning a bunch of that on fiddle initially, but yeah, and then that in combination with I just grown up country led me here, I guess.
So what are you? You say fiddle music, so you were a fiddler before you were a guitar player.
I was a fiddle player first. Yep.
And when did that start?
I was 6.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I was 6 when I started playing fiddle. I have a theory that my dad planted a fiddle in a closet somewhere, and I found it. So I don't know. He was planning on one of us to find it, me or one of my siblings. So, but yeah, it was that was a fun time, and we got really into. He grew up in the fiddle contest culture. And that's a whole thing on its own too.
What's that like briefly? Because I don't know anything about that, but I'm sure a lot of people watching are going to be.
Yeah,
is that a kind of southern thing or?
I mean, it's all over the country. But you know, it's like, you know, there's fiddle tunes, like trying to think. And just like I think that's Blackberry Blossom, and but like they'll take tunes like that, and in the fiddle contest world, it's basically like who has the best variation, you know, and it's kind of it's really competitive. At least when I was growing up, it was really competitive, and that was like I always loved that competitive spirit from that. I think that's really. I know a lot of people don't like that in music, but I think it's a cool aspect. It pushes people, you know, to new levels. So
you competed in that young.
Yeah.
And then somehow you've ended up with this big fiddle.
Yeah, I ended up with the Get fiddle down the road. So, and I wanted to play steel guitar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I didn't know that's what I wanted to play. I just heard this sound, and I was trying to describe it to my dad, and he's like, "I think you need a B-bender," and so I just bought a B-bender from the start.
You had a B-bender from your first guitar had a bender?
Yeah, I bought the Fender had the American Nashville telly, and then it had a built-in bender in it, and so that was my first telly. But you know, I was always like, country music wasn't the first thing I remember hearing though. It was like the one song I remember hearing the first time ever was Tom Sawyer by Rush.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and so like that was always like in my head, and then you know we were listening to fiddle music all the time, and then when I was like 13, I heard my dad sing don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys.
Okay.
And I was like, what is that? I gotta find out where that, like, what kind of music that is. So from there is when I really started getting into country, and Brent Mason and Forrest Lee Jr.
Oh yeah.
He put the bender in this one.
So this is a forest bender.
Yes, this is his bender. So it's got the
Oh wow. So this. Oh, that's cool. It's like flames.
yeah.
Shout out Forrest. Often comments on the videos, so that's cool.
Yeah, he's a great builder. I love the. Yeah, some teenager carved that in there.
Was it you?
It was me. Yeah, yeah. Waylon Jennings got a tune called "Anita, You're Dreaming, Come Closer," and I was like, that's a good name for a guitar. So I was into wood carving at the time, so I decided I'd carve the name in the back there.
I like that.
Yeah.
I learned this, I guess, at the house. Aside from wood carving, you had a pretty wild hobby, or it's a job, I guess.
It was,
this, yeah. What was that?
In my first job, I was kind of an apprentice, and then I became an employee at a taxidermy shop. So that was like, which my dad, he was always we were always hunting all the time, and he did brain tanning, which is like, it's like a Native American kind of way of, like all the frontiersmen and everything used that to tan leather back in the day. So it was like, you take the brains of the animal, and there's chemicals and stuff in there that cures the hide to make leather. So I was always around that, and then I was like, I want to learn how to mount animals. So I ended up doing that from 7th grade until I got into high school.
Wow.
So it was really unique. That's how I bought my first Telecaster, actually.
Really?
Yeah, which was cool. So
brain tanning to me just sounds like it's very American. But it's
sure,
also,
it could, yeah.
It's something like a video game or something. Like
right.
I've never even.
Yeah.
So you bought your first telly with a bender from doing taxidermy work.
Or no, I bought my first hollow body that way. Now
hollow body.
Another, I guess, pretty American thing. I bought my first telly from coon hunting.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a bunch of coon dogs, and they have competition hunts all over the world, and so not all over the world, all over the states especially. But there's a organization called the Professional Kennel Club.
Okay.
And so they do. They have these like big hunts once a year, and there's like smaller clubs all across the country where you hunt, and then you qualify for the world hunt.
Okay.
And so I qualified when I was in 7th grade, and then I got third that year, and it was like $1,000 cash prize and
wow.
$1,000 scholarship money too. So
what money?
Scholarship money.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I used that to. I used that $1,000 to buy my first Telecaster. So.
Wow. This I'm learning about. I think this is culture that I never knew this. You know what I mean? This is stuff I've never even heard of.
Well, I mean,
I'm not meaning to be ignorant.
No,
it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, the most anyone's ever really hear about coon hunting was like Where the Red Fern Grows. I don't know if you've ever read that book.
No.
Yeah, it's an American classic for sure.
Okay, yeah.
But like, I think that's the most anyone really hears about it. But it's still out there. It's still alive and thriving. There's guys I know that make a living off competition raccoon hunting. Yeah.
So
it's amazing.
You get the first telly, but then, when I met you, I thought you were a telly player, and then we get to know each other, and you're not. Like, you're so much more than that. But you're a very seasoned telly player. But you're also, you do a lot of stuff. How do we end up from playing fiddle to being someone who can write charts for a big band, to picks downtown, to
man, I don't know. I just
in between.
I was just really blessed growing up. It was like any music that was on, it was never discouraged. So that was always like no matter what, it was like there's always, whether it was Rush or AC/DC or Louis Armstrong or Dizzy Gillespie, it was like everything was always free game in my house. So that was really awesome for me. And really, I got the telly, and I wanted to do the country stuff. Then I heard B.B. King, and I was like, man, I got to do that. Like B.B. King really set me on a new trajectory. And then I heard my dad had this Willie Nelson CD. He's like, you should really check this out. And it's his Stardust record.
Oh yeah.
And it's just all jazz standards, is like the whole record. So, and that after that, I was like, I got to learn how to play this, you know, because he's got All of Me on there. Yeah, all of me. Why not take all of me? Can't you see? And from there, I was like, yeah, I got to learn. These aren't just, you know, this isn't just a 1-4-5 G, C, and D kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I, from then on, I just wanted to learn as much as I could about everything. So
what's the process for learning jazz? What did that look like for you? Because it's a pretty scary. There's a million different avenues, but what was the avenue for you? What do you think was the kind of, this is how I did it. This is how it made sense to me to learn it.
I mean, yeah, it was definitely a long process, but it was like growing up playing fiddle music, and I will attribute fiddle music to like everything that I do. It's like, because at the end of the day, you're just learning melodies when you learn fiddle music. And so, like, that was kind of the thing, is like, if I could learn the melody for a jazz song, like, that was always my main priority.
Okay.
And it wasn't until later that I was like thinking, you know, of what does it look like to solo over a jazz song, you know. But like, I think the first probably involved jazz thing I learned was Duke Ellington, Don't Get Around Much Anymore. So this is like the first chord melody I ever learned. And just stuff like that. And just from there, it was like, that was kind of a basic chord melody to start with. And then it got me thinking, it's like, man, I don't know how all these chords what are all these chords doing? You know, what is the function of them? And so that was like, I was blessed to find some really good teachers, which in Appalachia is like, you don't really associate great jazz players in Eastern Kentucky or around that area, but man, there's so many great guys I got to learn from.
So if I can make a side note, I guess there's a lot of us who don't know about it. What is Appalachia? What does that mean to you? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely like a culture and a way of life more than just the mountains, you know. And it's yeah, I don't really. That's the best way I could really put it. It's kind of a culture and a way of life. It's their own kind of people, you know. If it's not Southern, people always confuse Southern people with Appalachian people, and that's not the same thing, you know. Like, I lived in Alabama for about 6 years, and it's like they're a total different, you know, ball game. The culture is a total different ball game than it is in Appalachia, you know.
Right. Is that where a holler comes from? Is that what that is? What is that?
A holler, it's like, yeah. I mean, I grew up in a holler, so it's like, I would say, you know, you have, especially, we lived in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, so it's like before mountains got real tall, when you get into like deep in Virginia and West Virginia. But in the foothills, you know, how you have these, they're just hills, you know. Sometimes you'll have a valley, and that's what I think is like, almost like it's kind of like a mini canyon, you could call it. And then a holler is more like in between each of the hills.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Like a town you drive through and it's very scenic.
No, not a town. Like,
not a town.
Much smaller. Like,
oh, wow.
Like, my house was at the head of a holler, so like I kind of lived in this little, almost like a little valley. There's a little field, and then you go in between the hills to the back of the holler, and it's kind of like it's like a U. It's like cul-de-sac.
Okay.
A cul-de-sac for hillbillies, you could say.
Yeah.
Like, but like there wasn't a road or anything. There was
Yeah.
just a dirt trail went up the holler behind my house, and
That's
so
wild.
at the end it just ends, and then the only way you could go is just up from there. It's just like a horseshoe kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I call a holler, basically.
So, how did you get from the Holler to Nashville?
the holler from that to Nashville. So, I mean, the thing is, I was born in Nashville.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and my dad played out of town for a while.
What does your dad
So I
play?
always just about anything with strings. Yeah. He was a guitar player, and he played rhythm guitar with Terry Clark and Craig Morgan back in the day.
Really?
And then yeah,
That's sick. I didn't know
and then he got into gift market recording, and really like was pursuing the Appalachian fiddle music like I was talking about, and then he started playing hammer dulcimer. So that's kind of like his specialty these days, which is really cool. And if you don't know anything about the hammer dulcimer, it's like the grandfather of the piano. It's I don't know where it originates, maybe Germany or something, but it's instead of keys that send hammers down to strike the string, you're holding the hammers in your hand, and there's no sustain pedal or anything. Everything is just ringing the whole time, and it's a diatonic instrument, so it's just you have a few keys to work with, like D, A, and G or something like that, and you have those notes and those keys to work with on that instrument. So, grew up hearing that. It's just I just had a wide variety of stuff to hear growing up, and it was really cool.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So you're living in the Holler and you moved to Nashville.
Yeah.
When did you move to Nashville?
So I went to a college in Eastern Kentucky called Morehead State,
Uh-huh.
and studied there, with the blessing of good scholarship programs and stuff. So I was able to go there and just grind as much as I could before I got down here. And so then I moved. I lived in Lexington, Kentucky for really just for a few months, and then decided it was time to go to Nashville. I tried once before. I thought that you could move down to Nashville, and I had a place to live in 1 month, and I was like, I could get enough work to make a living. Which is really funny looking back now. It's like you need some more time to get out and network, and people have to know who you are, and a month is not long enough for that.
No.
So the second time around, we had me and a group of guys all moved down together, and we had
Okay, cool.
we already had some work downtown, and we were able to we live on the north side of Nashville, so we were still able to drive to Kentucky every weekend for probably about the first 8 months, just to make ends meet where you need to. So
you were trying to get gigs here during the week, and then gigging at home on the weekends.
yeah, and if we had a gig in Nashville, then we would usually not do anything in Kentucky, or sometimes we'd play like a morning shift, and then we'd drive to Kentucky that night, and then we'd come back, play another morning shift, and then go back to Kentucky and play the next night. And it was rough, but it's whatever needed to happen.
Yeah.
You know how it is. It's like whenever you get to town, it's like you do whatever you got to do to make stuff
I
work.
played bass.
Yeah.
Wait, so where are you gigging now? You've got some great regular gigs. If I was to go find you downtown, where am I going to find you?
Yeah, I'm playing at Layla's a lot. I play at Layla's every Tuesday and Thursday with Justin Wayne and Christian Lee, and our usual drummer is Austin Clark. It's a really fun crew, and we get to stretch out, and we've been using that for a while to just kind of do our thing and stretch out, and then with this group called the Bank Shafts,
Yeah.
usually on Fridays and Saturdays, and so getting tied in with those guys was probably the best thing that's happened since I've been here. So just getting to just getting to stretch out and just play, you know.
So when you say stretch out,
Yeah.
say I don't get what that means. Say I've just moved to town and I
Right.
want a gig, and you say, I really want a gig I can stretch out on. What does that look like?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's pretty common, you know, downtown. It's a big part of playing gigs downtown is like knowing the record and knowing the record parts. Um, but you know, you watch, um, there's famous Nashville bands like you know the Don Kelly band,
Mm-hmm.
for example. It's like and that's and it's kind of it feels like to me like that's the Nashville tradition. As far as like a honky tonk, that's what people would think of as like these players like testing out their new licks, testing out their new skills they've been working on and practicing on, and it's like, and it really goes just about anywhere. You know, there's guys in Appalachia where I grew up. Like back in the day, you could play 7 days a week in honky tonks. You know, because there was people would come out of the coal mines and they'd go to the bar. You know, and so you had a gig. I was talking to an older fella not too long ago, and they even had a morning shift in the mountains because the miners would come out of work working a night shift, and they'd go straight to the bar basically because they just got off night shift. So it's 10 in the morning and they're at the bar, and so there's a band there, and like that culture's kind of died out a lot now. But like Nashville is one of the few places you can keep doing that. But all those guys, it's like a lot of them were. It's all about kind of improving your own playing and working up to the next level.
So I've always loved, especially since our first gig together,
Yeah.
your voice on the guitar, and I think you've developed a really singular voice, a quite unique player.
Thanks.
And obviously, you've talked about that coming from fiddle tunes, and like there's the jazz thing.
Mm-hmm.
We've spent a lot of time discussing big bands and country pickers and stuff. If you had any advice to give someone who is looking to find their own voice, or perhaps some words on what that looks like to you,
Yeah.
what would that be? Because finding a unique voice in a sea of people is very interesting, right?
Yeah.
The trained musicians will notice it, but perhaps the casual eye might not. But what does it look like to you and mean to you to develop your own voice on the instrument?
I think for me personally, it's like I don't think you need to think about it. That's kind of my whole thing. I think it's a passive thing. Like, at least that's my perspective on it. It's like whatever you think is cool, you should learn that. Like
Yeah.
that's something I'm trying to get back from my younger self right now. It's like whatever I find is cool, just go learn it because it's like, and then just take whatever. If you find something that you really like, then use that. And then, I remember when I was younger, it was like I was just messing around all the time instead of like structurally practicing, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like rather than playing scales for this long, and then I was just like I just want to make sounds and just it's fun to search for stuff, like I always, especially growing up in the country, is like I love to just go walk around in the woods and see if I could find my way back. And that's I kind of like that approach with music too. It's like it's nice to go search, but then eventually it's like you can only search for so long if you don't know anything, if you don't study about anything where you are, or you're just gonna stay lost. You know what I mean?
Right.
So eventually, like my dad is really good about structured practice and all that, and so I kind of got on a regimen, and then but just kept messing around. No matter how structured you get, you got to keep messing around because that's where you really just come up with your own stuff, and you don't mean to. You just start doing it.
Well, on that note, on Instagram, you're always posting. Sometimes it's like mind blowing, and sometimes it's great, but it's also funny. You post some stuff. What's something recently you've learned that you caught your ear, like captured that kind of vivid childlike imagination of like, oh yeah, that's why I do this. What's a lick or a motif recently you can show us that you learned that you were like, yeah, this is it?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I like to. Lately, I've just been digging. I've been digging back to my childhood and just thinking about stuff that, like, I remember when I was probably like 7. I heard my dad had this Mozart CD, and I heard like, throw that in Working Man Blues. Just stuff like that. It's just silly.
Great.
It's silly, but it's like that's what I love about the gigs I'm playing downtown right now. It's like we just have fun and just kind of the more fun you're having, the more fun everyone in the crowd's going to have too. So
Right.
making jokes and making people laugh, that's way more valuable to me than playing crystal clean licks all the time. Because that's exploration isn't clean at all.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So like, when you're exploring, you're more on the wavelength of how does it feel, as opposed to, okay, I'm gonna be very studious about this and this and this. You're trying to find something that makes you feel something.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's kind of one thing. For a minute when I was getting into jazz, I thought you had to like analyze everything, but even just doing something like going up a half step, there doesn't have to be a rhyme or a reason for it. Like that can literally just be the whole thing. Like I think it was a John Pizzarelli video. He said something that his dad told him. Bucky Pizzarelli just told him, just move it up a half step, and there doesn't have to be a rhyme or a reason for it, but
Right. Yeah.
which you could break it down and like this is a tritone sub of this, or but you don't, that doesn't matter really.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting you touched on playing like you're a child again, because I
Yeah.
often think about that and how I still find the guitar so exciting 30
Mhm.
years later after I remember wanting it.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you specifically do to keep that love alive, or is there any way you kind of maybe thought, oh, I lost my way with this, and you decided to bring it back in regards to that, like to bring back that excitement and that refreshing, just this is still the coolest thing in the world
Yeah.
vibe,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's anything I do. I definitely have like um, I experience some kind of burnout, at least not like a detrimental burnout, but I experience some sort of burnout every 6 months or so, and it's like I always got to like look back and just remember, like that's the whole reason that I'm doing it anyways, is because it's fun to explore. It's fun to build stuff. Like we were talking about Legos. It's like you don't buy Legos because they're fun to play with. You buy Legos because they're fun to build.
Right.
And that's the same thing with music and guitar, in my opinion. So it's just fun to come up with stuff, and then the creation is the awesome part to me. And
I agree wholeheartedly.
but that's like, but there's plenty of other takes on that. Like the creation might not be some other people's favorite part of it. Like for some people, it could be more of a technical thing. They just love the studious aspect. I know guys like that, but like, and that's why I think music's so cool. It's like you can, especially in Nashville, you can find there's plenty of guys that the studious thing is like their thing, and there's a group of people like that, and then there's a group of people who's like they're all into the experimenting and like getting out there, and so that's what's so cool. It's like there's so many different like cultures and ways of thinking in Nashville as far as music goes.
Do you think you do well on the in-ears with tracks, digital rig gig, or you want to stay in the lane of...
I've done it. I've done that kind of gig before, and it was a really good learning experience for me.
Right.
But I definitely feel like I love to have air moving behind me, and like I like to experiment. Like that's definitely my lane. But you know, it's like I still take some gigs, you know, where it's like the in ears and the tracks and the because like that's a muscle that I need to work out, or else I'm gonna like if it ever comes up and I need that muscle, it's like if I can't do it, you know, you're in trouble.
So before we dig into your gear and kind of go on all that, what's like a hot Eli lick that people here can steal,
A hot lick.
or just yeah,
Hmm.
anything, any kind of. But let's do something in the. I just love the way you pick a telly. So something in the country-ish vein,
Yeah.
but something that's you. You know what I mean? What's a
Yeah.
good? What's something we can have a look at?
Um. I'm trying to think of some stuff that I do all the time. I mean, there's kind of like a waterfall-ish kind of lick. This is one of the first telly licks I remember learning, but it's like you can use it in any key. It's especially good in age just because you have the open strings, but like and it's really, you know, you could do so many variations of that. Like that was a variation, but that's like the skeleton of that lick.
Okay.
And then, but it's kind of cool just kind of go up and down and mix it around.
So you're playing the open string between each note.
Basically, yeah. And another like important thing I think that if you're just getting into country, like my one of my old teachers, Robert Schaefer, told me this. Like if you pluck every third note, that's like a good place to start as far as phrasing. Like, because you know most people. I mean, if you don't have anyone to tell you, like you don't really know what to do with your fingers when you're hybrid picking at first, you know. But that's really become really useful to me. Like every third note, if you just start that one, 1, 2, 3, 4. And eventually you start doing it. Just you don't really think about it anymore, but that's
it's so simple, but it's a straight and direct line to the kind of country thing,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah, for sure. And then, you know, one thing that I've because I got into Stevie Ray and BB King, it's like then you start just getting into minor pentatonic stuff, and messing around like even this blues turnaround. And I just started experimenting. I'm like, well, this is that's something blues guys do all the time. And then if you just expand on it and use the other notes in the scale. And I use that all the time. That's kind of I would say if I had a signature, that might be it. But because you can get it real fast. And you can move it up to the 4 chord. Yeah.
I like that.
So that's a fun one.
I like that. Well, let's dig into some tellies. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, for sure, man.